Canada have just fallen 3-2 to Jamaica at BMO, losing at home in Toronto for the first time since 2010. And this is an all-time new low for the Canada, and this is an absolute capitulation. There's no other way to put this for Canada and Mauro Biello in the Canada. There's no other way of looking at this. This is an ultimate failure, and this might be our all-time low. This is worse than the Haiti defeat. This is worse than any other low we've ever had. We were ahead by miles. This Canadian team had a 3-1 advantage on aggregate after scoring early on. We could have ran away with this game after that first half. But there was so much that went wrong in that second half, and I'm going to dissect it all, but this is just an overall match reaction, guys, and there's so much to say, so much to rant about after that unbelievable capitulation in that second half. It was a fantastic first half performance by Canada, but everything that went wrong in that second half sums up this nation as a footballing federation. If you want to look at it from a bigger picture, that second half fully just sums up this nation as a federation right now. It is a complete capitulation and a disaster. And I gotta first of all start off with just start saying, guys, that penalty was an absolute joke. But we can dwell on the penalty. We should be able to say that that penalty should never have happened, and I completely understand that. But there's no way we should be looking at that game and be saying that we shouldn't be losing due to a penalty. We should be looking back at that game and wondering how the hell were we only up 1-0 after that first half? How didn't Davey score at the back post after a couple minutes from a beautiful ball from Tajon Buchanan? For me, guys, my opinions on Alphonso Davies from that game are completely polar opposite of every other Canadian I've seen on Twitter. And I'll get into that in just a second. But Alphonso Davies should have scored earlier on in that match. It was a beautiful ball at the back post from Tajon Buchanan, an absolute sitter that Davies should have finished. As well as his goal, he took that absolutely horribly and even should have left that for Larin to take and absolutely finish. But so many chances, whether it's from Larin on the 6-yard box, from Davies missing a sitter, to maybe even Buchanan, who should have taken his volley on the first time, but that wasn't a given, to Blake making so many saves that, yes, you can look at them as good reactionary saves in tight. They should have easily been scored. We should have been 2-3-0 up, cruising, being able to bring on Luc de Fougerols and Ali Ahmed into this game, and to be able to get some players cap-tied, to be able to see some new younger players. This game should have been 2-3-0 after that first half. We shouldn't have to be looking at a penalty in the 70-odd minute and complaining that it wasn't a penalty. Fair play, it wasn't. We still should have been 2-2. But we shouldn't be dwelling on a penalty for us losing and not getting Copa America qualification and not being able to advance into the Final Four of Nations League. Yes, we can talk about Copa America, but this is also another chance of missing out on a trophy. Canada's most realistic chance of getting a trophy is Nations League. Let's be honest with ourselves. Copa America is a phenomenal opportunity to play against some of the nation's best, some of the region's best in South America, in Argentina, Uruguay, the likes of Colombia, Brazil. But when you talk about a trophy, which this group needs, you need a trophy to be able to gain positivity and to build success. We are only going to win that from Nations League. Let's be honest with ourselves. And we are now out of the Nations League due to a complete capitulation. And I want to move away from just a sheer rant and also about talking about those chances we missed and how we should have been up and not worrying about the penalty, because I want to look at that second half. And yes, you could say the subs were terrible, and I will get onto the substitutions in just a second. But we were getting bombarded early on that second half. First 5-6 minutes of that second half, it was all Jamaica. Leon Bailey hitting the post, hitting the crossbar, and if it wasn't for Leon Bailey missing 4 or 5 sitters throughout this tie, we would have been down a long time ago. But Leon Bailey kept Canada in this tie. And for 5-6 minutes to start that half, we were under the cosh. We were under pressure. We were absolutely pinned on the back foot. But Mauro Biello did not change anything. There's a few things I can criticize Mauro Biello for in this tie, and especially in that second half. And He got the lineup absolutely spot on. It was a 10 out of 10 lineup selection. He set the team up right, using Jonathan David at the 10. And so far, guys, throughout that first half, I was excited to talk about Jonathan David at the 10. I was excited to talk about him getting the spaces. But now, I absolutely cannot talk about that right now in a positive light, because it looks so good. And it was a brilliant first half, a brilliant lineup selection, a brilliant formation, using a number 10, using Jonathan David there. And then in the second half, polar opposites. Biello has 5-6 minutes where we're under the cosh. That is when we get to see what our manager truly does. And he changes absolutely nothing. He doesn't make Kone drop back more. He doesn't make Stefan Eustáquio drop back more as a number 6. He lets us get scored on twice before making a change, a huge change, where he absolutely blew this game up. And for me, was where we lost this game. Yes, you could say we were still 2-2. Yes, we got a horrendous penalty call against us. But when you make a triple change, it is extremely rare to see triple changes in football. Yes, you have 3 windows to change and make substitutions, but to make a triple change where you take off Kone, Buchanan, and Larin, yes, we're tied. Yes, you want to lock down ship, but make 2 subs, change the formation and the tactics a little bit, and change the personnel. You don't have to completely blow up the attack. Tajon Buchanan, for me, was arguably the 2nd or 3rd best player on that pitch today, outside of the likes of Stefan Eustáquio and Jonathan David, and even Derek Cornelius. And taking off Tajon Buchanan with the way he was dribbling at defenders, the way he was taking them on one-on-one, and the chances he was creating for players like Alphonso Davies and Kyle Larin were phenomenal. And he brought on a player in Junior Hoylett. Junior Hoylett is a complete polar opposite to that. He doesn't have the pace. Yes, he has the dribbling ability and the passing, but he's not going to be able to get back in transition if we needed that. And he's not going to be able to find those key passing and dribbling outlets that Tajon Buchanan was able to do throughout the time he was on the pitch, through whatever it was, 70 odd minutes. And then you look at him taking off Kyle Larin. That was the most bold, brave decision I saw all match. And it made absolutely no sense. Because if Canada had to go score a winner, you're then relying on us to go out and put up Jason Russell-Rowe, a young 21-year-old, who I absolutely rate, but you're throwing him into the lion's den. It's a match where we're losing, we're on aggregate, we're in fear of going out of the Copa America and out of the Nations League, and you're relying on a young 21-year-old who hasn't started a game for ages with Columbus Crew to come in not fresh. He's coming in with a couple minutes to go in the game, and you're relying on a young 21-year-old to score you the winner. It made absolutely no sense. Biello didn't change anything tactically when we went behind early on that second half. He didn't change anything tactically when we went under the cosh in the first 5 to 6 minutes in the second half. We went down, had 2 goals scored on us. And then he says, okay, we answered. And then he says, okay, we're tied. I'm going to make a triple substitution that blows up the team personnel-wise, especially attacking-wise, which if we go down, we're absolutely screwed. And I hate to admit this, but throughout those extra 10 minutes, I really felt we had no goal creation. We had no one coming for the ball. We had nobody wanting the ball. Alphonso Davies was given the ball, and players were almost like, let's give it to Alphonso and let's see if he can do something with it. Besides that, nobody wanted the ball on that pitch besides Liam Millar. Liam Millar was showing for it. He was having the energetic ability, the energy to open up, to try to get the ball, to want the ball, and to try to do something that lasts 10 minutes. But besides him, everybody else was saying, let's let Alphonso Davies try something. Let's let Junior Hoylett hit a shot from outside the 18 that's not going to have any effect. Besides that, everybody else had no options. And it was really unfortunate to see. And I just felt like we weren't going to score that equalizer. As low and as depressing as that might sound, and as negative that might sound, I didn't see an equalizer coming from anywhere on that football pitch. And another poor substitution he made was taking off Stefan Eustáquio. One of our best players on the pitch, a set-piece delivery player, a player who wants the ball, a player who can deliver the ball into the box with absolute precision, and when we're crossing the ball into the box, you take out the best player on the field at finding someone's head, at finding the final pass. Absolutely mind-boggling. But guys, it was the biggest capitulation in Canadian football history. This was worse than the Haiti match. This was worse than those matches against Honduras. Those matches when we would go deep away into Central America and absolutely get blown away. This was worse than Haiti. This was worse than some of those lows we've had against USA where we're getting absolutely beaten. This was worse than under John Herdman where we got hammered in some finals. Especially in that Nations League, which was the most depressing of all. But losing to Jamaica when being 3-1 up on aggregate is the biggest capitulation in the Canadian football men's history. And this loss sums up the federation. The capitulation, the failure, the drop-off, and this cannot be tolerated, guys. There's going to be a huge backlash from the fans. I couldn't harp on Biello for the lineup, but tactically, his substitutions were completely outmatched. He got beaten by not one of the worst managers in CONCACAF, not by the best manager in CONCACAF, but he made the lineup selection correct. His formation, everything was spot on. But in-game management has been horrendous from Mauro Biello, and something needs to change. We need this general secretary in. We need this new manager in. And personally, I want Thomas Christensen, but I know we're not going to get him. And it's going to be very interesting to see where this national team goes on from here. I really wanted to talk about some of the positives, guys, but that's going to have to be in a tomorrow video. Or that's going to be in a what we learned from this match. Because right now, all I feel is truly depressed. I feel sick to my stomach. And I'm at the point where I might have to call in sick for work. Because I don't know if I can handle getting up in the morning to wake up and go to work. Because it was one of those games that absolutely took the energy out of me. And now I'm going to have to root for Mexico. Because I do not want us to have to come up against them potentially in the losers bracket, I'm going to call it, because we truly are losers right now, guys. But let me know your guys' true thoughts down below in the comments. I'd love to have some interaction and talk to you guys in this depressing as hell time as a Catamanti supporter. Drop a comment, hit that like button, and let me know your guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.